Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Shawn Levy, and it is the third Deadpool film that we finally got after Deadpool 2, which was 6 years ago. And this is also the third Shawn Levy film to have Ryan Reynolds after movies like Free Guy and The Atom Project. In this film, Deadpool, played by Reynolds, gets taken by the TVA, where the TVA can safeguard his universe like they've been doing in other universes in the Loki series. And they later take Deadpool to the Void, where he runs into Wolverine, played once again by Hugh Jackman, and the two of them have to work together to save Deadpool's universe before it goes extinct. Now, I love the first Deadpool film. It's one of my favorite superhero films of all time. It was very meta, it had fourth wall jokes that were really funny, and it's just a hilarious film to watch from start to finish. The second one I didn't love as much, but I still enjoy it. I think it has very fun action sequences, the humor is still very funny, and I enjoy it overall. And I of course love Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine, whether it's most of the X-Men films that he's in or the Wolverine, which is pretty underrated by the way. I actually like that film. And of course Logan, which when I found out that they were bringing him back to play Wolverine, I was skeptical about that because the way Logan ended with his character I thought was perfect. I thought that was a great way to end his story, but I still wanted to give this film a chance for the character, and I want to see what they can do with him. And not only is this the first film to have Deadpool and Wolverine in the MCU, but this is also the first MCU film to be rated R. And it goes for it. And it's not squeaky clean. They do not hold back on all the blood and violence. They show a lot of that in this film. Like people getting killed and some of them getting their heads cut off. And you see all of it. This is also a very funny movie. I found myself laughing at quite a bit of humor throughout this film. And with some dark humor as well. And this movie has a lot of dark humor, which that's something we come to expect from a Deadpool film, and that makes it clear in the very opening scene with one moment with Deadpool, which I know not a lot of people are gonna like this part, and it's a little tough for me to explain why because it's a spoiler. And I can understand why a lot of people wouldn't like that part in the beginning, but to be honest, I just couldn't help but laugh with how they're doing it. And just like the first two films, there are a lot of fourth wall jokes where Deadpool pokes fun at a lot of Marvel films, in particular ones from Fox, and it pokes fun at both the MCU and Disney in general. And there are some other things in this film that I do want to talk about, but unfortunately I can't because those relate to a lot of spoilers, so I'm gonna save all of that in my spoiler review. But what about the main story of the film? What about the characters? What about the more important parts of the film that are supposed to make it work? Does this film still manage to give us both a good story and good characters and make them work? Well, in my opinion, yes, for the most part, which I'll explain more of that later. I do think it still works for this film, because for one, Deadpool, or Wade Wilson, is trying to go through a new leaf in his life because of some of the issues that happened to him in the past that kind of caused him to want to do a new thing in his life, and he tries to do something new that's supposed to help him feel more special, and when the TVA start to take him to their own place and realize that he is in the MCU now, he now realizes that he's special, or as he said best in a trailer, I am Marvel Jesus. And then there's Logan, or Wolverine. I was curious to see how this movie would handle him because, like I said earlier, the way they ended his story in Logan was perfect. And without getting into spoilers, except for what they say in the trailers, is that this is a very broken Wolverine who failed his X-Men. And technically that's not a new arc for Wolverine because they've basically done that quite a bit in the past with the other X-Men films, but it does work here, and it does bring more of the emotion for the character in the film. And even though I still love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and he's great in this film, Hugh Jackman is still awesome as Wolverine. He's still killing it as the character, and both Reynolds and Jackman work very well together with their banter because they start out not liking each other at all, which leads to so many moments of them whenever they're arguing or having their fight scenes that I just couldn't help but laugh whenever that kind of stuff was happening between the two. Their banter in this film is easily worth watching. It's one of the best parts of the film, and it does not disappoint. Now, this film does have a lot of fan service, and Marvel is known for doing that with their films and their shows as well. And sometimes that can be a crutch for some people that don't always want to see fan service in the film, because those films would have moments that are supposed to be great for the film, but are just there to amaze some fans that have either read the comics or seen some of the animated shows. Like, it's supposed to be the kind that's gonna make fans go, oh, hey, I remember that character, he was in that movie at one point, or, oh, hey, here's that vehicle, I remember that from that comic, or, oh, hey, here's that other character I remember from this show at one point. Which I'm not gonna be a hypocrite about this, because I do love that kind of fan service. It does get me excited. I know it's not gonna amaze everyone, because they can be annoyed with the fan service and think it doesn't serve a purpose in a story, and they would also see that as eye candy for the audience, and I understand that not everyone is gonna enjoy that, but at the same time, I really don't give a crap, because I'm a fan. I enjoy this stuff. If it makes sense for the story, and if the story is good, then this is gonna be a fun time. But now we are unfortunately gonna get to one of my only issues with the film, and the one I'm gonna mention is kind of a big one, and that is the story. It's pretty basic. It's really just like the usual main heroes have to work together to save the world and stop the bad guy from trying to destroy it. It's just a usual story where the main heroes have to save the world, and it's something that we've seen in so many superhero films, and I was hoping that Deadpool would make fun of that, but he doesn't. Like, at least give Deadpool some more of that kind of fourth wall jokes, like have him acknowledge that problem. And my last issue with the film are some of the villains in the film. One of them is Cassandra Nova, who is well played by Emma Corin, and there were times where I thought that she was menacing, but you really don't see much of a backstory on why she's menacing and why she's a huge threat, because all you get is her just like doing some terrible stuff to other characters and trying to get in their minds with her powers. And this other villain, which I'm not gonna say his name even though he's introduced pretty early on in the film, is a very weak villain. Like, this character's motive in the film isn't all that interesting. You get to see a little bit of this character's reason for why this character is doing what this character is doing, but it really didn't feel like it was a strong part for the character. So that is one of the weaker parts of this film, and one of the more forgettable parts of the film, besides the story being pretty basic. Deadpool and Wolverine is a very fun Marvel film. Yeah, the story can be pretty basic, and some of the villains were either weak or forgettable or underdeveloped, but it has a lot of fun humor, it has great action, it goes for the blood and violence and the language, it has great banter from its two leads, and it has fan service that I had a lot of fun seeing, and they made up for that basic story. For me, this is kind of the Spider-Man No Way Home of X-Men films, meaning that that film was kind of a tribute to both Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This film is a tribute to the Marvel films that were made by Fox, while even though this movie does poke fun at Fox in a very fun and respectful kind of way, but it also pays homage to it. I'm gonna give Deadpool and Wolverine a B+. Definitely check this film out if you haven't yet. I think it's a very fun time in the theater, and I think it's a very fun film as a fan of both Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what else Marvel does with the MCU films, because this kind of opens the door for them to make more R-rated films in the future, where they could make more films that are more violent and have them make sense for the story, and have them drop the F-bomb more and not shy away away from all the blood and violence like this film didn't. And Marvel has kind of been a slump for the past few years, where they've made a lot of films that have either been mediocre or really bad, especially with some of their shows, even though X-Men 97 was pretty awesome. So guys, if you have seen Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters, what did you think about it? Did you think it's an awesome movie and that it redeems the MCU, or did you think that this film is just as bad as some of their newer films and shows? Let me know in the comments below. Also, stay tuned for my spoiler-filled review coming later this week. I have a lot of stuff about the film that I do want to talk about, but I'm saving it for my spoiler review, so look forward to that. And as always, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.